Hi, fam. I was asked to do Kevin Trudeau's book, Debt Cures. And please believe me, I am not trying to not let somebody buy his books because he is a great asset to us. As y'all know, he wrote a lot of books. I happen to only have two. I think I only have two. But anyway, here's one called Natural Cures. Um, Natural Cures Revealed. So it's a lot. This is a great book. There's a lot of stuff in there that everybody can use. But like I said, this is chapter 6, and I was requested to do this. So here goes. I haven't read it ahead of time, so bear with. Cut Your Rate, chapter 6. I may get harassed and be the subject of occasional verbal abuse, but I'm a simple guy. I like to tell it like it is, in simple language, so that other guys and gals like me understand what's going on. Other people, like the big corporate money bags, might have a problem with that. And that is exactly what it is their problem. It always amazes me that the whistleblower is the one that catches the most heat. The guys doing the dirty deeds want to cast suspicion away from their wrongdoings. They are pretty good at it. The credit card companies have mastered the techniques of bait and switch. They bait you with a low teaser interest rate and then switch your rate to double or triple that without your even knowing. Isn't that special? Their excuse? We can. They're not breaking any laws. Their reason is we're special. The laws and regulations are tied up in a pretty green bowl with dollar signs just for them. When the president of a major credit card company, which is a profit leader of the big credit card companies, has a little party at his house for a few hundred of his closest friends, and they all just happen to bring their checkbooks and leave a little love gifts for, let's say, George Bush, then I guess you can say that you are indeed special. America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Unfortunately, it is also the home of the advantaged and spoiled and special. Do I want to put the kibosh on their deceptive practices? Yes, I do. And I stayed up front and honestly. I don't hide in the fine print and the legalese. The credit card companies are in a class by themselves when it comes to manipulating the terms of their contracts. In an interview for the PBS documentary Secret History of Credit Cards, Harvard law professor Elizabeth Warren has pointed out that the credit card industry is the only one able to run a business like this. Nobody signs contracts to buy things that they say, I'm going to pay you $1,200 for the big screen TV, unless you decide in another month or 2 months that it should really be $3,600 or $4,200 or $4,800. But that's precisely how credit card contracts are written today. Crazy contracts? Yes. Crazy consumer? No. It's time to play a new game called Let's Get a Better Rate. Rate switch. If you want to get better telephone rates, you call them up and ask. If you don't like their deal, you switch providers. You are not afraid to call your cable company and ask if HBO is on special this month. You know to never take the first offer that the car salesman gives you. So why are we all so intimidated by the credit card companies? Maybe many of us had no idea what they are really up to. Blind trust is now shattered. Maybe we feel it's futile. They have gotten away with it for so long. It is all we know. We have taken our beatings and have decided to stay down on the mat. One thing that I have learned in my life is that staying down or remaining quiet only leads them to believe that they are in control. And then they will only try to get away with more. They think their tricks are top secret or untouchable. Wrong. We can pull the plug on the runaway interest rates and fees. We can cut our debt in up to half by doing so. And it all starts with a simple phone call. Another technique for anyone and everyone: cut your payments in half. Phone calls can save you thousands. Phone calls are usually easy, time efficient, and believe it or not, effective. Most people assume that a phone call is a waste of their time, so they don't make them. Nothing is further from the truth. Pick up the phone and dial. Don't let your nerves get the best of you. Why in the world should you be concerned with what the person on the other end of the line thinks of you? Make the call. It is the most valuable thing you can do with your next 5 minutes, and it can save you thousands. Interest rates. Call up your credit card companies. Their phone number is right on the back of your card. Ask what your current interest rate is, then ask them to lower it. If the person you speak to doesn't help you, ask to speak to a supervisor. If they say no, call back. Keep trying. Don't give up. It may take 7 calls, but I believe that the vast majority of the time they will lower your rate, simply because you asked. It really is that simple. Take Vendel and Gwynn. They had a whopping 29.75% interest rate on their Bank of America card. After calling up their credit card representative, their rate was lowered to 5.75%. And they get to keep that rate for 5 years. They use the same technique to lower their rates on their 3 other cards. Hang on to all those credit card offers you get in the mail. If you don't get one today, bet you do tomorrow. When the customer service person tries to give you the brush off, you can say, "I'm holding an offer that I got yesterday in the mail from Super Credit Card Bank. I will transfer my balance over to them today if you do not give me a better rate." I kid you not, you should get results. Lowering your interest rate instantly lowers your payments. You have just lowered your debt. Immediate results like that is very empowering. As long as you carry a balance on any card, it's possible that your credit card company could raise your rates without you knowing. So it is up to you to make a periodic phone call and check on your rate. You can explain that you have been a long time, good paying customer. And if they don't lower your rate, you will drop them. Simple as that. Ask and you shall receive. Be persistent if you have to. But a small investment of your time on the phone can save you thousands of dollars. Seriously, I believe this is a surprisingly effective technique that very few people know about. Even more surprising, it often works. Credit card companies love to raise your rates, but they won't lower them unless you ask. How about reducing a 20% interest rate to a 10.5%? Cutting a high rate like that in half is impressive. One follower of these methods had his interest rate of 9.99% dropped all the way to nothing, 0% for 6 months. Ask. You never know what they might do. Find out what rate you're paying now. One gal had been paying an outrageous 28% for the last 6 months, and she didn't even know it until she called. She is now paying a much more reasonable rate of 12.8%. Want to feel great? Call and ask to cut your rate. You never know unless you ask. Spend a minute, save a lot. You only have to spend a few minutes of your time, and you literally can save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Write a simple script for yourself. If that makes you feel more comfortable. Hello, my name is Ginger Tanzel. I need to know what my current interest rate is with you. This is the part where you pause and they tell you. If it's not a good rate, you say, wow, that seems high. I have a bunch of other offers from companies who will give me a lower rate. Can you match the rates being offered by your competitors? Even the most phone-shy person can handle that script. Some people get the hang of it after a few calls and really get brazen. I have heard of one guy who likes to play his own version of Deal or No Deal. He'll ask for his rate to be cut in half, or he will ask for it to be knocked down by 10%. He has even asked for a 0% APR. You've got nothing to lose, and who knows, they could say yes. This simple phone call technique works. Keep it polite. The key is to kill these fat cat credit card companies with kindness. If the person you're talking with will not work with you, ask to speak to a supervisor or hang up and try later. Let's make a deal. Being polite does not mean that you cannot be persistent. I have a friend named Eric who always gets the best hotel rates simply by asking, is that the best you can do for me? So you can be direct and bold and ask if that is in fact the absolute best rate that they can offer you at the present time. Ask if any special offers are coming up. Even if you don't have huge credit card debt, the compounding of interest is frightening. Let's show how an example of my friend Rhoda. She had only 5 credit cards. Most people have many more. On one card, she had an outrageous 22% interest rate on a balance of $2,000. Credit card minimum payments are usually 2% or 4% of the entire balance. We'll say Rhoda paid 2% of her balance each month. She thought she was doing a good thing by making her minimum payment. She didn't realize that by sticking to the minimum payment, it would take almost 10 years to pay off that balance. 10 years? The interest that would pile up over the course of these months will grow over $3,900. She would end up paying more than double the original balance of $2,000. How crazy is that? Do you think that whatever she bought for $2,000 is even still going to be around in 10 years? That's longer than a car loan time period. Some people can pay off their houses in 10 years. Interest may be the eighth wonder of the world, but we don't need to be its shining examples. Don't throw your money away. Imagine how much greater the numbers of this example for Rhoda would be if the balance were higher than $2,000. And many of us carry balances that are indeed more than that. The national average is $8,000 per person. The interest on that could fund a vacation or a retirement plan. I guess it is not only your vacation and your retirement plan. Your money is going to the bankers and the credit card company folks instead of into your worthwhile endeavors. Not anymore. Any reduction in rate is better than staying where it was before you made a simple phone call. Let's use Rhoda as an example. These days when calling your credit card, your first lesson in patience is punching in enough numbers to get a real person on the line. Credit card company. Thank you for calling Outrageous Credit Card Company. This is customer service. How can I help